All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hot 6 GSL. This is the Code A, and this is day one of the third round of Code A. This is what it is all about. This is what these players have been playing for, practicing for, fighting for the last several weeks. It's to get to this part of Code A to get into Code S. As you can see there in our last match, Seed advanced 2 over convincingly versus Lenok, and
Lenok's gonna have to go through the up and down.
He's gonna have to go to the up and down matches now. So many good players in the up and downs. It's gonna be very tough. But next we have Avenge versus Oz.
Yeah, this should be quite the interesting match. I feel that Avenge has shown himself recently in PvP a few times, and right now he's kind of like the top dog for ZenX as far as results go.
Is it me, or does Avenge look like Bomber in that picture?
I can see a slight resemblance. I can see that.
I think it's not just his face and the glasses, but it's his stance.
He's got a slight head tilt. His glasses, Bomber's glasses are a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
But,
anyway,
I can see it. Well, Oz, I think, is definitely the clear favorite here, but Avenge has shown some interesting PvP in the past. He's the guy who you can't kill with a 4-gate or a 2-gate proxy, but
yeah,
I've seen some games from him. I've seen replays of his, and I've seen, I believe I watched Artosis play against a few times on the ladder, and I've seen a lot of this guy's games of PvP, and it seems to be that when he's in the late game PvP, he can mess up his engagements sometimes, even with an advantage, so we'll see.
Yep. Yeah, his most recent PvP was just this last weekend. He did get 2-0'd by Huck, although Huck was in pretty good form at MLG.
Absolutely.
But yeah, wasn't Avenge the one that he got 2-gate proxy zealoted and he got like 1 stalker out and he kited the zealots all the way across the map?
Yeah, he's done that before for sure.
During the team league, I believe. Anyway, Oz, though, is very good at PvP. We're going to find out if he can continue that or if Avenge will be able to succeed here at the GSL. All right. First of all, up here at the top right of the map is our Protoss player.
Avenge.
Well, I guess that doesn't actually describe anything at all since they're both Protoss players. He is one of the only players from Team ZenX who's being pretty successful right now.
Yep.
And down here at the bottom left, this guy is a beast at Protoss versus Protoss with over a 75% win rate. Can he do it here?
That's Korean, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's just his Korean results, too. Very, very strong. He's won 8 out of his last 10 games versus Protoss in Korean tournaments.
And he's coming back from MLG. He's going to be feeling a little bit tired.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something he's going to have to overcome here in this best of 3. This map traditionally is not a map where we see the game end early.
Now, by the way, these guys actually met in the Team League, speaking of which, just a couple weeks ago. And Oz beat Avenge not that long ago, so he's already kind of proven that he has what it takes. Avenge is going to have to pull out something special here if he's going to defeat Oz. Oz is just so good at PvP. I mean, like I said, he's going to have to bring it to another level. Avenge has been playing very well this Code A season. I've been really impressed with him, but he's got a lot of work.
Absolutely. Well, I'm really curious to see what builds are going to collide here. Right now, we see both players doing very standard openings, nothing out of the ordinary. Zealot is being produced for both players at this point. In Korea right now, everyone's making the Zealot. So it's just not it's actually would be unusual to see a more foreign build like the 3-gate or 2-gate 3-stalker rush skipping the first Zealot. You hardly ever see that in Korea anymore.
For some reason, the way you said that, it made me think it was like a dance craze, like everybody's doing the Zealot. It's Korea. It's all the rage. Come on, do the Zealot with me.
Ooh, look at this. Offensive gas by Oz. He takes his second gas.
Interesting.
Now, how will Avenge respond? A lot of people right now are debating about this gas steal. It's very difficult to steal a gas because the new implementation of Blizzard is done. Look at that, a forward pylon. I think we're going to see a 4-gate out of Avenge by response. A lot of people are saying, well, it's hard to 4-gate after your gas is stolen, but also it's hard to tech. You're going to be behind in tech no matter what. A lot of people like the Warp Prism 4-gate as a follow-up to this. I don't think that's what we're going to see from Avenge. He is chrono boosting only on Warp Gate research right now, though. And Oz can actually, he can see that with his,
sneaky probe, not sneaky enough.
He was able to see the chrono boost usage on the core because the simulator just barely had vision of it. But no, we're not going to see a 4-gate after all.
Nope. And yeah, Oz actually, he's pretty likely to use Warp Prisms at some point. He likes to use his Warp Prisms in PvP sometimes. That'd be kind of fun to see. But yeah, he's actually just got those 2 gateways. He's just going to try and catch up a little bit in tech, get a second gas going. Actually, we haven't really seen any tech from him yet. Either player
made a bunch of sentries for fear of the 4-gate as a response to his gas steal. And he also added a 3rd gateway before tech. And what Avenge is doing right now is actually warping in units to be aggressive. He's not planning on going for a kill move or anything here. Oz should be perfectly fine with the sentries he's made, though. He will have to force field well because Avenge has a lot more units than he does right now.
Yeah, this is actually a little bit scary for Oz, but he is going to force field that off. He's going to pick off the Zealot and save his sentry. Yes, micros the sentry away. And even cancels that forward pylon. And yeah, Avenge just trying to kind of almost scare him into thinking that it was a 4-gate in a way it looks like. But Oz isn't taking the bait. He's not overreacting.
Well, Oz is in trouble now because he may be able to take a Nexus, but he has no tech. His opponent has a robotics facility finishing up back at home, which Oz does spot with a scouting probe right now.
Yeah, this is really smart by Avenge if you think about it. Oz kind of did something that might force him into a 4-gate, so he tries to act like it's a 4-gate, and Oz, as a result, is behaving a little bit differently than they would want to. He makes the Nexus now, but Avenge is going to have a lot better tech. He's not going to have the Nexus, though, so there's only going to be a kind of a small window where Avenge is going to need to do some damage with his Immortals and Colossi.
This game will end in one way. It'll be a 2 Colossus with range timing attack, and it's all going to come down to whether Oz can hold it. This is just one of the triangles of PvP, basically. Is the Nexus Gateway Nexus expand versus the 2 Colossus with range timing off of 1 base. Avenge, if he wants to be crazy, he can try to expand as he does it, but in reality, that will not work out very well for him. He's going to have to add 2 gateways, hit with a very specific 2 Colossus timing. He's even going to have 2 Immortals because of the way this timing has worked, because he pressured Oz. So it's going to be really solid. Actually, he's getting Warp Prism speed, and he's going to be doing a different... this is a different way to respond. This can work, and this can fail miserably. It's very hit or miss.
Interesting. He's got the 2 Immortals. He may be going for the Immortal drop that we've seen on occasion in the past, where you get 2 Immortals in the Warp Prism, and you can do a couple things with it, but one thing that we see is players going around behind the enemy Nexus, and you can pick off probes very quickly with a couple of Immortals.
You can pick off structures. You can also, in times of battle later, have your Immortals exactly where you want them. They're very slow, immobile units, but if you have this fast Warp Prism, you can reposition the Immortals where you want them. This is not what I expected to see as a reply to the Nexus.
Oh, and he's actually, now he's making a Nexus of his own. So Avenge is going to use this Warp Prism as a distraction.
He's going to have to send it back very soon with this Blink Stalker aggression from Oz, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, if he knew it was coming, he probably would, but he's kind of committed at this point. But here's the thing: is Oz's forces are all out here, so he doesn't have anything to deal with these Immortals. They're going to get some probe kills.
He's going to go for pylons. There's no Warpins available right now.
They do so much damage. He does have a few Stalkers there, but those Immortals can actually take out 3 Stalkers without another round of Warpins to help. Especially microed with the Warp Prism.
But the Stalkers are hitting here at the natural. Avenge does not have enough. It's all going to come down to what he micros. And Avenge may have to cancel. He's going to try to break down. Looks like he has enough, actually, Mole Trap.
He does have an even Stalker count. but the blink is going to give Oz the advantage to at least blink away. He didn't want to fight that because the sentry there, the Guardian Shield, was going to help out. The results there in case he didn't blink back well enough. It's going to be hard to fight that. So, oh, and he might get his forces trapped. Oh, no. Is he going to see it? He's trapped.
God.
He's going to have to blink past, but he's going to take some shots on the way out. Actually, he took very little damage. I thought he was going to take more damage there.
Yeah, if Avenge had realized, he would have taken more, but Oz in a pretty tough spot at this point. He's getting charged and starting his own Robo. He's desperately getting that charge to try to hold off the next aggression move from Avenge. He is trying to pull the forces back using the Stalkers. I like this. The Force Field not placed as well. Actually, it looks like it's placed
going to stop him from blinking up there.
Yeah, I guess that was better than I thought.
Nice.
It's always hard to tell exactly where the Force Field's supposed to be on certain maps. It's almost like it's different.
No, you're right. I thought he would have had a slight vision. I think with a couple patches ago, he would have had vision up that ramp, but since the change, he didn't have the vision up there.
Yeah, they've changed so many things in PvP. I've been playing Terran a lot recently.
Ooh.
Well, barely misses the
gets
prism
out
there.
Yeah, that would have been. I think he probably would have been able to kill that off with Blink. But now, here's the thing: Avenge. He's got Colossus. He doesn't. He just started Colossus range, I believe, but he has a lot more tech, and he has the expansion up in addition to Oz's expansion. So he's actually pretty even, and he's ahead in tech. The only thing he doesn't have is the Blink, of course.
You know what happened here? I'm gonna actually take things back to be able to make a flow chart, if you will.
All right.
So Oz dealt with the pressure. He expanded, and as a result, Avenge had to do something. And Oz expected Avenge to go for the 2-base Colossus, so he was like, well, I have to hold this expansion, so what can I do to hold this expansion against 2-base Colossus? I'm going to go for Blink. And then his opponent just didn't go for the Colossus, and then the Blink wasn't as useful to buy time, and Avenge got his own base, and then he got better tech. So if Oz had just gone for Colossus of his own against his opponent going Colossus, it would have been bad, but against the build that Avenge did, it would have been good.
But he didn't know that. So
it's kind of weird. Yeah, he didn't know that.
Because it would have made more sense to go for the Colossus in a way.
And these Immortals are going to have to get out of there, but he does show the charge.
Yes, indeed.
And I feel like there's just some weird build order stuff going on here in PvP as part of the result of this game. Double Robo up for Avenge now. He's got 2 Robo Colossus coming out. Oz is making his own second Robo back at home, but it's very behind. He's getting a Forge as well, but
he's going to be...
also already has a Forge.
Oh no! The War Prism gets caught. The Mortal drops out. The Blink away means he's not even going to get that one Stalker, rather. That was a really good pick-off by Oz. He's now gone from even supply to 15 supply ahead. Or about 10 supply, I guess. But,
look at,
yeah, he's always going to be, Oz is always going to be behind in the Colossus count at this point.
Do you remember what we talked about before this? Is that Avenge always stays to the late game, but when he gets there, sometimes he has bad engagements.
That's true.
He is preparing for a really good engagement right now. He's got a nice wall off, prepared for the charged zealots he's about to be facing. And Oz is even broadcasting this attack. He's going to perhaps lose a Stalker or 2 here. Oz is basically showing Avenge, hey, I'm going to attack you with charged zealots and a less Colossus count than you. So Avenge can actually just do a full wall off here. He's totally prepared. He's going to have +1 very soon.
Yeah, Oz is probably going to wait for that Colossus to come across the map. And in the time it takes, Avenge is going to have 2 more Colossus, and that's going to put him at 5. And there's no way he's going to be able to break in there, especially with the Zealot-heavy army that Oz has. He's not going to be able to bust that down. You're exactly right. He's got a perfect engagement point.
Hold position Colossi for Avenge here, and clearly showing he does know how to engage these types of situations. +1 armor being researched for Oz now as well. He's got double forges, getting a Templar Archive. Likely, of course, for Archons.
Yep.
Avenge getting a Warp Prism right now, knowing Oz is kind of being concentrated at the front of his natural. He wants to pull some forces back using a Warp Prism. And a Dark Shrine going down for Avenge as well, so you can use that Warp Prism in that way. If you can keep it alive. It already has speed. That upgrade, of course, will continue on. The Colossus count right now is 5-4 in Avenge's favor, with a defender's advantage and 2 Colossi at a time being produced for both players. Avenge basically always going to be 2 Colossi ahead at the time of the battle.
The Observer scouts the Dark Shrine.
He's going to have to make cannons as a result.
Yep. And yeah, he doesn't want to stop production of Colossus in order to make Observers right now.
Yeah,
he's already behind in the Colossus count.
He cannot afford to do that. Some interesting micro.
That was close. Very good by Oz, being on the ball there, trying to take advantage of what opportunities he has.
Looks like
he knows
Oz
that he's the only one.
left. He might. I thought he was going to try to commit to getting a better concave than his opponent.
He knows he's the only one with Blink, so he's trying to make use of that as much as possible, but he just can't find the opportunities to really make it useful. His
stalker count's so low anyways, he only has 10 at this point in the game. That's such an insignificant number.
Yeah.
I think what we're going to see out of this Warp Prism is 4 Zealots dropped and then DT's warped in. He's going to target down Nexi and then eventually Robotic Support Bay and things like that with DTs and Zealots.
Yeah, he's got the Forges, obviously, but he didn't build... He scouted the Dark Shrine. He didn't make cannons. But hold on, at the front door of Avenge, he is going in, and Oz looked like he had a better concave for a moment, but Avenge had too many units. I like this, trying to go against the expansion, though, at the same time.
Oh, much better concave for Oz here.
But he's trying to split his forces. But all Oz has here is his Colossi. He doesn't have any support units for his Colossus because they're all down at the bottom. They're going to be forced away. This is crazy. Both players are trying to be in 3 different places at once. The Warp It in the main is really doing some damage on Oz's base, killing so many probes.
Does get the cannon up, and his army is pushed back. Oz has a supply lead.
Oh, look at this. TT's finding the Colossus in the middle of the map. Oh, there's no observer there. He could have kept chasing. Oh, well. That is a big chunk of Colossi, though. That is crazy.
The Colossus count now 8 to 9 in Oz's favor.
Oz actually took the lead in that.
But Oz has very few supporting units.
Yeah.
And both players on third base. He does have a cannon up. The DTs could have possibly targeted that down, but decides not to go for it. And I feel like I'm a little bit surprised. I think that one engagement at Natural really pulled things back in for Oz. Now he's got an opportunity to come back and win this. The worker count 51 to 62 in Oz's favor. +3 is started for Avenge here.
Yeah, he managed to get a third base up along with Avenge's third. It was some good harassment at Avenge's third base as well. So... Wolf, guess what we're seeing right here?
We're seeing
we're seeing 3 base versus 3 base. We're seeing late game PvP.
And I told you, man, Avenge likes to play into this. He likes to, every time I see this guy play PvP, he plays late game. And sometimes he botches his engagements. If Oz has the better Colossus count, has a better fan, it'll be exactly what we all kind of thought we might see here. And here we go. It looks like Avenge is trying to get into position. He definitely has a better position, but the Stalker is allowing Oz to get into position with his units. The Archon's taking some damage. Oz with a much better concave here. Decides to retreat, though. He has no supporting units.
Yeah, he's got more Colossus. He's going to warp in some units, though. Will he turn and fight with those warp-ins?
He does. They both need a better concave, and Avenge's units are not firing at his opponent's Colossus.
Oh, no.
The Zealots take so many hits, and Oz has just won this game, Mole Trap, I feel. Playing from significantly behind. There are some DTs, though, doing some damage in the main base.
Oh, he's going after the robotics facility. Going to try and chop that down slowly and steadily. Slow down the Colossus count of Oz, but I don't think it's going to work. Oh, look at this. DT's just getting killed off there. Trying to snipe Colossus as well. Avenge is in desperation mode here. Trying to do whatever he can to barely come back in this game, but you're right. He lost a lot of stuff in that last engagement. He's now, oh god, I just looked at the supply count. He's actually 60 supply behind.
A lot of that is in workers. The Colossus count remains close. Oz 10 to 8.
Oh wow. Did he lose workers in a battle? How does he that low?
Yeah, he lost some workers. And
I missed that, I'm sorry.
With the Colossus count now 12 to 8, that's just too many for Oz. With range as well, he's going to be able, no cans are going to buy him time. Look at this, the Stalkers just doing so much extra DPS.
So much lasers. So much lasers from both sides.
Even with +2, it's just not enough.
GG.
+3 is seconds away from finishing for Avenge, but it was not done. And this, I mean, we talked about this, people have been talking about this guy's late game PvP a lot, actually, and it's just like, you can't kill him early game, but in the late game, somehow he just loses. He just does. It doesn't matter how. Something goes wrong and he loses. That's what happens with him when I watch him play PvP.
He doesn't look too phased by this, though. He's kind of trying to laugh it off. He's like, I should have had that. And he should have. And I think the thing is I think that big battle where you announced that he'd lost the game, I think the key there was the fact that Oz actually had a bit of a concave, and Avenge's Colossus were all kind of clumped up. All of his units, he had his units here, and he had his Colossus clumped up standing on top, such that when the splash damage of Oz's Colossus went off, instead of hitting 1 Colossus or 2 Colossus, it hit like 3 or 4 units.
Yeah. And the other thing was, that was like the first part, and the second part was when he warped in like 7 Zealots, so his Colossi didn't even hit any of the Colossi of Oz, where Oz was hitting only Colossi. And when you have even +1, and with no armor upgrades, the Colossi of Avenge had +2, but they were hitting Zealots and not Colossi. They didn't have any armor to shield the Colossi, whereas Oz's units had armor, which isn't that significant in PvP, but the +2 wasn't that significant because it wasn't hitting his Colossus. The Colossus count is all that matters. Now the next map we're going to be playing on here is Metropolis, another map that's very, has a strong possibility of getting to late game.
Yeah. It's a map that's pretty wide open. It's relatively easy to protect one's expansions. Your first expansion doesn't have a ramp, but it has a nice choke point with some rocks, and so you can kind of hold that if need be. So you're exactly right. Match 2 is about to begin, though, on Metropolis. Avenge versus Oz. Oz has shown himself to be the recent king of PvP. Can Avenge take a game off? And we're going to find out right now at the GSL with Wolf and Moltrap.